the seventh and final of our customer story sessions that we've been having during these last couple of days. By way of introduction, my name is Samir Bhangar. I'm on the PowerCat team. It's the customer advisory team that sits within the engineering group at Microsoft. We assist customers with PowerApps, Microsoft Flow, the Common Data Service, and we work fairly closely with our sister team, which is the Power BI CAT team. So it's been really my pleasure to be sharing a number of these stories today. For those of you who, actually, by way of hands, has anyone attended any of the previous story sessions? Okay, good. So some of you haven't seen the other ones we've had. I'd encourage, there have been some similar themes around citizen development all the way to large enterprise IT, like Schlumberger, who has more than 10,000 users running PowerApps every month. So I'd encourage you to go back and look at that. But we're here to hear from the transportation folks. To get us started, I'd like to welcome on stage Martin, and I'm not going to be able to pronounce that last name correctly. So my friend Martin from the Swiss Federal Railways, thank you for being here.
Yeah, thanks, Samir, for the introduction. My name is Martin Zandegiacomo. I'm a technical consultant, Office 365 at Swiss Federal Railways. I will introduce myself further in a slide. So welcome to my presentation. As I mentioned, Swiss Federal Railways, we are owned 100% by the Swiss government, and we are operating and maintain most of the railway network within Switzerland. Just to give you some numbers, what we are talking about here, we run 10,608 trains on our network per day, and we have about 1.25 million passengers per day. We are 32,300 employees, and the languages spoken within our company is German, French, and Italian. That's important for the journey I show you afterwards. Our challenges are primarily the competition from other forms of transport, mainly on the road and in the air, and also the new technologies. We are using a lot of new technologies to just increase the capacity of our networks to not have to build new tracks, basically. So I wanted to point out those two. The other ones you can see when you download the presentation. About myself, as I mentioned, technical consultant, Office 365. I'm with SPB for more than 4 years. I started with PowerApps in March 2018. And I'm an IT guy. I'm coming from a system engineering path, so I'm not a developer, but still I'm working within the IT department. About the team, I'm working for Rapid Solution Unit. We are 26 engineers, but only 2 of them, so me and my colleague Simon, are doing PowerApps, actually PowerApps Flow and Power BI. And the other technologies we are providing, you can see there. Let me introduce you to the journey we took with PowerApps so far. It all started when we, in 2018, when we rolled out Office 365 to all of our employees. So all of our employees are having an Office 365 license, either E1, E3, or E5. So that's where we got started. To leverage that investment that we have Office 365 licenses, we moved all the mailboxes to the cloud, and also we wanted to get rid of our on-premise SharePoint. And that's exactly what I'm talking about right now. So to get rid of that on-premise SharePoint, we wanted to move our biggest application to the cloud, and that was our intranet. Our intranet contains a lot of information, but also it contains a lot of forms. You might know InfoPath forms or stuff like that. It's not InfoPath. In our intranet, it's Matchpoint. And so we had to get a solution to move those forms to the cloud. And that's where we started with PowerApps Flow and Power BI, as you can see afterwards. So having to migrate 300 forms from on-prem to the cloud we were facing some challenges, right? Primarily time because we had a hard shutdown date communicated to our business users, so we didn't want to get stuck on that. We want to have our forms in 3 languages. We want to have some consolidation going on, so not only move all those 300 forms at once to the cloud, but also reduce maybe the amount of forms or make them, enhance them a bit, or whatever it needs to get better. So we also wanted to be able to send mails with attachment. That was actually a big business demand. Sounds really easy, but with the Matchpoint solution, we were not able to do that. You can see on that slide how those forms looked like. So yeah, pretty normal, I would say, what I would expect from the old form, right? Let me give you some examples what we are doing with those forms. So for example, when a train is running late, the train crew does some overtime, and the train crew wants to get paid for that, right? They don't want to work free, so they will report that overtime. And that's how, when they went to the intranet, filled out some information, and submitted that with that form. So 90% of our users are mobile users, so they only have a cell phone. 90% of our train crew users, not 90% of our whole bunch of users. So we took the opportunity to create for them a mobile app instead of that old desktop form. And as you can see, that form is heavily used, so it has potentially 2,200 users. Not sure how many of them do they use that form, but it has been used more than 4,500 times since January, so obviously a lot of them use that reporting form. Another example is it's a tricky one. It's the ticket vending machine issue reporting app. Yes, I got it. Yeah, so this used to be 7 forms, right? And every time when a customer encountered an issue with a ticket vending machine, for example, a ticket got printed out on black, or the machine didn't give enough change, or even didn't give change back to him, he will be very unhappy, and he reported that issue to a counter, to an employee at the counter. So the employee there was having 7 different forms, and he had to figure out which form to take, basically. And to do so, he browsed through the internet, chose one. Yeah, well, maybe it's not the right one, and we wanted to like have that process more easy. So we created one app instead of 7 forms, right? So we merged them all together. The employee clicks on one link. He has a drop-down. He can choose what issue the customer is reporting, and then the app only shows the fields he's supposed to fill out. And also the app gives some guidance through if the customer can be refunded, if the case needs to be submitted to a customer care center, stuff like that. Before that solution, before the app, there was also a need to print out the form, actually. So they had to print out the form, sign that form, and store it at the station in a folder. And at the end of the month, crawl through all that paper, count the amount of refunds they did, and we didn't want that anymore. So we introduced a process like that we were able to add an additional field simply to that app, where they can put in some accounting details. And then on top of the SharePoint list where we store the information in, just put a Power BI report, and that's it. No paper crawling anymore. Simply a Power BI report. I would also like to point out the language switch we did in all of our apps. So the languages are changed within the runtime of the app if you select another language. Let's have a look on the architecture. We use PowerApps as a front end. We have some supporting flows, sending out emails with the information collected. We store all those things in SharePoint online lists, and on top of some lists, I mentioned it before, we have some Power BI reports which display the data. A short introduction to the project timeline. So we got started in July 2018 with 1 engineer and 1 PM. We scaled up the team until October, where we were 8 engineers and 1 PM, project manager. And in January, we were able to have 220 forms transformed to 165 apps in production. So we were able to cut down the amount of forms we needed. I said one of the challenges was to have some consolidation, and we were also able to do some of the forms even with forms, so was no need to do them with PowerApps also. And as you can see, the journey continued. So on the intranet, some of the users saw a form or an app. Now it was an app, right? And they thought they could use that app also. So they reached out to us from IT and said, yeah, can we also have that app for our use case? We simply copied the app, adapted it a bit, and put it on production. The process we had there to migrate all those forms, for every form, we added a form owner. So that was a business owner who was responsible to take care of that form. With him, we checked, or her, we checked the business needs, where he had to ensure that we get financed so that we would get paid. We did an estimation on that form, how long it will take to migrate that. And then we took an architectural decision. As I mentioned, we had forms. Some of the forms we were able to do with Microsoft Forms. Most of them we did with PowerApps, or the really, really complicated ones we had to do with SharePoint framework, but that was like 2 or so. When that was done, we got the approval from that form owner. We did the realization on the test environment and afterwards on the prod environment. Sometimes we skipped test because it was a really simple one. And then we got into the testing where the form owner had to give us the okay that the functionality is good. And we can go on and hand him that app over. Actually, the business owner then got the responsibility back over the app. The business units we supported, there are some more, but just to give you an idea, I would not like to point out the processes here, but just the variety where our forms are used is quite huge. They're spread all over the company. The business impact, we had at the end of the project 165 plus apps in production. We were able to do that on time and within budget. We leveraged from our Office 365 investment by having Office 365 licenses anyway, right? A good example is the ticket vending issue reporting app. Ticket vending machine issue reporting app is the value the business got back. They invested something with us, so they spent time with us to figure out the plan how to consolidate 7 forms into one app, but they get a value out of it. So no paper crawling anymore in stations over the whole, spread over the whole country. And we covered all the requirements business had and all the functionality we had with the old forms. Yeah, we did not only do forms, we also have some standalone apps. I would like to point out the Carebase app here. It's an app that supports the work of emergency psychological caregivers. Those caregivers, they reach out when there is an accident with people involved, and they need to have psychological assistance. So the app helps those caregivers to ask standardized questions. So it provides a standardized questionnaire, and the app also provides instant feedback on how the condition of that person might be. And it also gives some advice on how to proceed. So can that person be sent home, or should that person be sent to the hospital, or such feedback the app gives. So why did we choose Power Platform for that? There was no solution on the market, basically, but there's no solution where you can buy such a thing or such an app or such a program which supports that business case. So we started with that care-based app. And there was also no like big project budget for that. But the team needed a solution. So we started to do something with PowerApps and Power Platform. And it worked out so well that it was rolled out in January. And it's now used in more than 60 users over the whole country. It replaced the paper and Excel-based solution. And now we are enhancing it with Power BI reports. So we had a great success with that care-based app, and the team there is really happy. The learnings we took from our journey so far is that you should really challenge the business. What do you mean by challenge the business? Show them what the Power Platform can do. Show them a Power BI report. Show them a Power App. And then they get on board. I'm quite certain that they get on board in almost every company. Since when you have them on board, you can create really amazing stuff. So you can create something they didn't think of, right? So really onboard them. There are some limitations on the Power Platform. I guess most of you know about them, but really check them before you start with a project. I'm pretty sure if you check them before, you can work with them. You can work around them, but check them first. Start with a plan. That's something we didn't do good. So think about how you want to set up your environment when you're about to have such an amount of apps like we have. So should we place them in one environment? Should we do a separate environment for our intranet forms, stuff like that? So think about the architecture. Make use of the Microsoft support. We had some cases when we had to open a ticket there, but they always helped us, released some patches or so to the platform, and we were able to go on. Also, the SharePoint online dependencies. I mean, we use SharePoint as our data source for our apps. And I mean, if you encounter some issues on the SharePoint platform, for sure, also your app will encounter issues being slow or something like that on saving data or collect data from the SharePoint. That's what we learned, and that's what we also have to explain to the customers using an app sometimes. Looking a bit ahead, what are we doing right now? We are thinking about building a center of competence. So we are working on the vision. What should we provide there for our users? For sure, we want to validate our platform setup. I mentioned it before. And on the project side, we're very happy that our team receives new requests for new apps to enhance apps. And we are also happy that we are still able, even the project has ended, we're still able to consolidate our forms a bit so far. That's the end of my presentation about the journey we took with the Power Platform. I will be very happy to answer any questions afterwards.
Yep, we can save some time for questions. So thank you. And like I've been sharing in some of the other sessions, to celebrate some of the work of folks like Martin, we've created a few storytelling cards. And Martin, we have one with you on it. So thank you for sharing your story, for creating this and sharing it.
Thank you, Samir.
Thank you. Yeah. So next, I'd like to welcome Manuela Pichler. You probably saw her in the keynote on video if you saw it. And this is the motion that comes to Manuela when she sees that. Manuela, thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Over to you. Yep.
Thank you. So my name is Manuela. I'm a software developer, and I now manage a team of software developers at Virgin Atlantic. And I want to share a little bit about how our journey looked like discovering PowerApps from an IT point of view. I've got a marketing slide. So we're Virgin Atlantic. We're an airline based in the UK, operate flights mostly over the Atlantic to America. We're a relatively small airline, so we've only got about 40 aircrafts. And the reason we're managing to still be an airline in a quite difficult economy is because we have really strong partnerships with, through our joint venture with Delta Airlines, for example. And we believe that partnerships are so important that actually the statement "make friends" is part of our corporate strategy. And we think of that as like external partners like Delta or partnerships with companies like Microsoft, but also internally, like just go out there and make friends with everyone that you encounter in the business. And that's really important for some of the stuff that I want to cover. A lot of what we've heard in the past few days was kind of that forming a center of excellence for PowerApps. I manage a team that's called IT Lite. We got established 10 years ago, so way before PowerApps was a thing, I think. We develop quick win technical solutions and proof of concepts to the business, and we were formed because kind of the technology leadership team realized that the business needed a point to come to IT and to talk directly to people and ask for help. So we kind of manage the end-to-end engagement between business and IT. So we perform business analysis, gather the requirements, develop the solution, help the end users with the testing, and we would then productionize the solution. So work together with our information security teams, our architecture teams, our change management teams to put an application live. And I guess the background of my team is some of them are .NET developers, some of them are SharePoint developers, some of them are Dynamics end users that have transitioned into IT, and some of them come from like a cargo contact center background that haven't previously worked with IT, and it set us up in a really good way to deal with kind of all the requirements that come to us. What's really important, the most important part about the team is that we operate in a high-performing and high-trust environment. So decisions that we make are trusted by the business, but also by IT. And that's not something that happens like this. It took quite a while to establish that. But through that high-trust environment, we're able to be really agile, be innovative, try something out, take a step back if we don't think it works. And we're just continuing to build relationships with departments across the business. Over the past few years, we've embarked, probably like many organizations, on a digital transformation journey. A part of that was equipping our remote workforce with tablets. So that's cabin crew, pilots, engineers, airport staff at the clubhouses. And there's big programs underway that make sure that the most common scenarios that these employees deal with are satisfied on the iPad when they use it. And there's two aspects to that. As a team with no mobile development experience, it was really daunting for us to see everyone across the organization get an iPad, and we kind of we were really worried that we wouldn't remain relevant. We couldn't develop quick win solutions to those people anymore just because we didn't have that mobile development experience. And we also knew that it would take a really long time for us to upskill. Finding PowerApps in that time was a game changer for us because we knew that we could still develop small scale quick win solutions to those people. And it really helped the confidence in the team. And the other part of that story is that the big programs take care of maybe 50% of what the person does in their day-to-day job, sometimes 70%, but there's always a percentage left that the programs don't fulfill. So the user have the iPad that they need to work with, but then they would still have to go to the back office, to a laptop, to a desktop, fill out a paper form, fill out an Excel spreadsheet. And where we come in as a team is we address those 30% to make sure that as an employee I can do everything I need to do on the iPad that has been given to me. I want to talk a little bit about our journey and some of the examples. We've got quite a wide variety of data sources that we use in the background, so I want to go through some of those examples. Our first app was developed probably August 2017 or so. It was a simple read-only application against SharePoint, and from then on, it took quite a long time to develop the second app because we were just figuring out how it all worked. And the growth in applications that we build is massive. So last year we developed about 150 apps. This year already we've developed 120 and we're only 5 months in. One of the ones that gained quite a lot of traction because of the success behind it is the compliance monitoring app. So it's used by our engineers who all have an iPad to perform audits. So obviously our industry is heavily audited. We have external auditors come in that make sure that audits actually do take place. Previously this was done in Excel spreadsheets and paper forms. So the way you can imagine it is the engineer printed off a paper form, did the audit around the aircraft, handed that paper form to their manager, and the manager would then put the data into an Excel spreadsheet to get the analytics out. It's a lot of wasted time for a manager to key in that data. The engineers were actually in the process of looking at a third-party solution to buy and fulfill that functionality. And one of our business partners had heard about Office 365, PowerApps, and said, let's set aside one single day, let's do a hackathon and see if we can tackle your use case with an investment that we've already made, rather than spending an additional 30,000, 50,000 pound per year, rather than giving our data to another third-party system where if we have to do reporting on it, there's another system that we have to pull data from. So that's exactly what we did. It was kind of the first hackathon that we organized internally. Got together in a room, had some of the subject matter experts from the engineers, some of the end users from the engineers in the room, a facilitator, and then some people from my team. And the engineers had never heard of Office 365 or PowerApps, and together we built an application. And by the end of the day, they had something that worked, and it wasn't the finished product, and it never, I don't think after hackathon it ever will be, but they had something in their hands on their iPads that they could take to their managers and to other engineers to show them what they've produced, and they were really enthusiastic about the journey, and we continued building the app, and as part of that journey, we onboarded them onto PowerApps. So actually the application is now managed by the engineers, so if they want to make changes themselves, they can do that. And that's how a lot of our applications work, is the end user might not have heard of PowerApps before. They come to us with a requirement, we build a solution together with them, and then we would hand it over, so the changes they can manage themselves. This one uses SharePoint as a data source. For our customer data, we use Dynamics 365. And actually the Clubhouse team is one of those teams that maybe got a little bit left behind on their digital transformation journey. They had something that worked. They had a paper form. They used email a lot. There's not a lot of teams, so we've only got 3 spas in our clubhouses. That's in both the London airports and in New York. So their business case just wasn't ever strong enough to invest in an application or in a third-party product. But basically what they had is a health questionnaire, and it's a legal requirement if you visit a spa to fill out that questionnaire and let us know if you've got any allergies and any medical conditions. And even if you're a frequent flyer, every time you visited a spa, you had to fill out that paper form. It's not the customer journey that we want to provide, and it's also not the vision that we want our customers to see. One of the Dynamics end users heard about PowerApps and said, isn't there something we can do about that? So we created an entity for the questionnaire in Dynamics and put a PowerApps as a Canvas app on top of that, and deployed it to the clubhouses in a really short period of time. And they were just fascinated with the art of the possible, and it actually increased our NPS score as well. We got a lot of good feedback from our customers that now I just have to confirm that everything is still correct, or I can change some of the questions if I've developed a new medical condition or if I'm not pregnant anymore. It saved a lot of paper, but it's more about that customer engagement. We did a customer satisfaction here. We had a third-party solution in place for performance management, for feedback that we gather in kind of one-to-ones with your manager, for setting your objectives. But it was very formal and very strict, and that's not how we deal with our employees. That's not how I converse with my manager. So the HR team wanted a solution that kind of was a bit more flexible, so we built something on top of SQL, and we're able to replace the third-party solution there. I'll just bring all of these up. We've also got applications that connect to Cosmos DB via Flow, and that was a really exciting opportunity to go to our architecture team who didn't maybe think that much of a low-code, no-code solution and say, actually, I've just built a PowerApps that connects to Cosmos DB. And then we're also replacing, as part of a SharePoint migration, InfoPath forms with PowerApps as well. And that worked really well for us because it immediately made them mobile friendly. As part of what my team does, and I kind of consider us a center of excellence even so we're going to keep the name IT Lite. We support both our citizen developers and our end users. And for me, as someone who from a technical background, and for a lot of people in my team, learning how the custom connectors worked, learning how PowerApps worked was kind of the easy part. You just stick your head down and learn it. It was the more important part is building that internal community and providing that support to citizen developers. And that was the more difficult part for me to learn. But it's so important to not leave them behind. So we've got everyone in the company is a maker. Currently, we've got about 85 makers, and a lot of them are citizen developers. We run internal app in a day sessions, and it's really important to not just provide that and then leave them alone. So we also do learning lunches and one-to-one sessions to help citizen developers achieve their goals. So they can just come to us like they did before when they had a problem, and we would solve it together with them. We organize hackathons to solve business cases, and something that's really important for us is show and tell sessions to share success stories and focus on the benefits so that senior managers can see what you've achieved with the applications. It could be a cost saving, a time saving, increasing employee engagement. But in order to get kind of the senior level buy-in, you really need to emphasize on that benefit. We have Champify, which you can see and download via ak.ms Champify. It's a learning platform where people can watch YouTube videos from people like Shane Young, John Levesque, and they earn points. And there's a leaderboard, and it's actually quite competitive in the company to get on top of the leaderboard. And it just supports people on their learning journey, so they've got a breadth of options to learn. They can attend app in a day, they can attend a learning lunch, they can come to a drop-in session, they can learn online, and it's really important. We also support, as part of our role, kind of sitting between the chairs of business and IT, is supporting IT with the change piece. All of a sudden, they're not responsible anymore for all the applications. They have visibility of all the apps that are going on, but they can't manage the change that much anymore. So it's a part of my job is really helping people like InfoSec, architecture, ops management, get to grips with what PowerApps is, how you can manage it, raise the visibility of what's going on, and create solutions with the admin connectors that help IT manage PowerApps better. So we've got a SharePoint site that stores kind of all the material. And on the right-hand side, you see some screenshots of admin dashboards that have been created using the PowerApps admin and maker connectors. And that helps us drive kind of the compliance and the support of our users. We've also got a level 2 support team. So if you're a citizen developer and the app has grown kind of beyond what you think is you can support, you're able to hand that over to an IT support team. And that's only come in recently. It is definitely a journey, so we didn't figure out everything on day one. Some of the three main learnings are de-engagement, build relationships with your end users, citizen developers, and all parts of IT. Use the admin connectors, and they're really powerful, but learn the difference between what's available through the admin connectors and what's available through the PowerShell commandlets. And the most important part for me is be part of this amazing community. Build one internally, but also reach out to the external community, because I certainly wouldn't be here if it wasn't for people like Keith. That's me done.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Manuela, for coming here and sharing your story. Thank you. You did. We may have you back here for some questions later. Okay. So next, I want to introduce SNCF, and before we have Ludovic and Melanie come up, I'm going to play a little video, or as they come up. Well, why don't I say hello to you first, but we're going to show the video and then we're going to get to you.
Okay, perfect.
But thanks for being here. Ludovic, Melanie, I know it's a long way and you've got a little bit of a cold as well. But yeah, thank you. So SNCF was here, Ludovic was here last year, sharing their story, right? And I always enjoy seeing these stories that continue to evolve, right? They were at a particular point in time last year. They talked about the Center of Excellence activities they were starting up, that you've heard from some of the others. You heard from their perhaps competitors, I don't know. Martin shared about building up a center of competence. Over the last year, it's been fascinating to see how much more they've put into it. And what we created was a little bit of a video. I see it almost like a mini documentary that walks through their story. So I want to play that, and then we'll talk a bit about what's changed since then and some of the key top of minds, right? So let me just go ahead and play the video, and that's the AKMS link where you can grab that video and share it with others that might want to see similar stories, okay?
Je suis Henri Pideau, je suis le directeur de la performance et la transformation numérique du groupe SNCF.
Je suis Magali Dupin, donc responsable amélioration continue au sein du Technicentre industriel de Saint-Pierre-des-Corps et du Technicentre de maintenance. Le digital est un outil qui nous permet de nous améliorer, on en est tous persuadés. Voilà. Mais c'est comment le porter à l'ensemble de nos collaborateurs.
L'enjeu de ce programme, c'était d'amener le digital dans l'ensemble de l'entreprise.
L'idée, c'est le digital utile pour tous et à n'importe quel moment.
Avec les réseaux sociaux d'entreprise, on a lancé les Yammers. Et avec cet outil digital, en fin de compte, ça s'est amplifié et ça a été national. Voilà. Donc ça, c'est un des premiers succès de notre programme Digital pour tous.
Je suis Sylvain Martin, je travaille pour le groupe SNCF. Mon rôle est de promouvoir et d'accompagner le développement rapide d'applications. On a complètement dématérialisé le processus de remontée des incidents qui apparaissaient sur le réseau ferroviaire.
PowerApps, c'est avec Flow, avec Power BI, c'est un ensemble qui permet réellement de digitaliser les processus métiers.
Et on est arrivé en quelques jours à créer une application dont la donnée est stockée sur SharePoint. Et toute l'analyse en temps réel tombe sur Power BI. On a simplement les incidents qui remontent et qui sont analysés et traitables au niveau établissement.
Lorsqu'on a accompagné le déploiement de ces outils digitaux et l'explication, la donnée envie, tout agent qu'il travaille de nuit ou qu'il travaille de journée, il était en mesure d'exprimer des innovations ou des idées d'amélioration de son travail au quotidien. Sur le processus même de la maintenance, on a une application qu'on a nommée DigiBogie.
On remonte des bogies de A à Z. Au départ, on faisait tout sur papier. Il pouvait y avoir des risques d'erreur, etc.
70% des bogies appairées ressortaient insatisfaisants. Donc on était obligé de renouveler l'opération.
Et le fait de passer par une application, on est sûr que les calculs sont bons, que les appairages sont faits comme il faut.
Donc DigiBogie fait partie de ces grandes innovations pour pouvoir fiabiliser et rendre nettement plus robuste notre manière de produire.
Nous avons mis cette application qui s'appelle Application linguistique numérique ALN pour faire plus court. Et ça permet d'avoir vraiment un dialogue et moins de tension avec les chauffeurs parce qu'ils ont des temps à respecter.
Donc on a conçu une plateforme d'échange via les tablettes et qui permet justement d'avoir une communication facilitée les uns envers les autres.
L'arrivée de ces nouveaux outils, PowerApps, Flow, Power BI, en fin de compte, a permis aux métiers, aux établissements de se rendre autonomes dans l'usage de cette plateforme.
Je ne suis pas développeur et pour autant j'ai très vite pris à l'outil PowerApps. Grâce à cette expérience de 2 ans en établissement où j'ai pu créer des applications locales, j'ai aujourd'hui rejoint SNCF pour accompagner des projets groupes et filiales.
Je suis Cassandra Cornillo, directrice de l'école numérique au sein de la direction SNCF. On a proposé un parcours avec du présentiel et du e-learning qui permet à chacun de trouver son bonheur dans les formations et dans la montée en compétences sur l'outil PowerApps.
Pour nous, l'objectif est de faire émerger davantage de projets par le terrain, pour le terrain.
Aujourd'hui, on a formé plus de 738 personnes depuis début janvier sur SharePoint, sur Power BI et maintenant sur PowerApps. Et ce sont des formations qui fonctionnent super bien.
Je suis Ludovic Malandra, je travaille à la direction performance et transformation numérique du groupe SNCF et je crée une synergie entre les différents métiers, notamment les SI, l'école numérique, les établissements, pour leur permettre de travailler autrement et d'apporter au groupe de nouveaux usages. Du fait qu'on est un grand groupe, on est obligé d'avoir une gouvernance et également un monitoring de tout ce qui se passe sur le terrain au niveau de la Power Platform. Et nous avons vite vu qu'il était nécessaire de créer un store pour partager notre expérience. On retrouve toutes les fonctionnalités nécessaires pour réaliser l'application. Et l'intérêt également de ces applications, c'est de mettre en avant celles qui ont du succès.
La question qu'il faut avoir en tête pour accompagner cette autonomie, c'est quel est le rôle de la DSI finalement. Et en fin de compte, on a travaillé sur un vrai positionnement de la DSI sur des thèmes très particuliers qui sont la mise à disposition de référentiels fiables, l'ouverture des systèmes d'information régaliens avec des API, de telle façon que les métiers puissent s'approprier, puissent consommer ces référentiels, ces API, de manière transversale. Et on a repositionné la stratégie de la DSI sur ces thèmes-là pour qu'ils puissent accueillir aussi cette plateforme et ne la combattent pas, je dirais, parce qu'ils auraient peur de perdre une partie de leur prérogative vis-à-vis des métiers.
Je sais pas, je le pose là, putain. Ça me coûte rien de dire bon.
Cool. So thank you. Shout out to Jamie Toombs at the back as well, who did a lot of the filming for that video. So yeah, Ludovic, tell us a little bit about your thoughts and especially what you've seen changing since then.
Okay. Yeah. As you just seen, with our direction of performance and digital transformation team, we work on what matters most, the human and culture aspect of transformation. Fostering a culture both of top-down and bottom-up that encourages everyone to be part of a transformation journey. Based on our early successes, we are transforming, industrializing this approach. The digital will be there to support these needs and interaction, and this Power Platform and IT, we have no limit. The digital would be there to support these needs and to answer a digital implementation. We work with the local and team, and we detect local and national needs and then industrialize them to make new modules for everyone and to accelerate our transformation. We currently are to a phase of industrialization of Power Platform within IT. We will share with you how we use a Power Platform and the available features. After analyzing and exchanging with different committees, is one of business needs. A QR code generator, which is the best way to connect the real world and digital world. You log in and fill the name of API. You enter the expect field, and we can accelerate the processes digitalized by iPhone. Another needs, we have PDF and Word export with an easy way for formatting the document. And before, we can integration in PowerApps. It's really easy to use this function in PowerApps. Platforms allows to make quality work. Melanie, sorry.
Yes. So Melanie,
sorry.
When we were speaking a bit, it was the way I understood it, and I'd love to hear a little bit about your thoughts on this and how you're going about doing it. But one challenge we hear about a lot from organizations is, once I get beyond a certain number of apps, what do you do with this app proliferation problem? Have I created a new problem of just way too many apps? And you're taking that and figuring out how you're going to consolidate them within SNCF, as I understand.
I'm not part of the IT department. I'm just a lean manager. I'm working with many local teams, and many issues we have to deal with are communication or data issues. So 2 years ago, we started working with the Power Platform, and it soon appears that PowerApps really match our needs of fast releasing and mobility, even offline. And to deal with all the needs we detected, we meet up a monthly meeting through the Lean Manager networks, and we gathered every needs and identify each volunteer who wants to work on this need. And then we made some meeting to define the needs and then to develop. I want to share with you one of the latest need we developed. A welding application. As well, many processes. We've got to write on a paper every information about the welding reparation, but it's not as efficient having it through a database. So we work with 4 business units to define the needs and then develop the solution. So there's some photos of the team. We've got the photos of the hackathons. We made 2 sessions of hackathons to develop the application. And as you can see, sometimes brainstorming are not that easy. But in fact, we finally developed the application on the right side of the screen, and it covers all the process for the welders. They can find anything they need to do in this app, from detecting defaults on the first part of the screen to sending reports through the third screen on the right. Well, that's it.
Yes, okay, next please. Yes, finally with Sandrine Delorme, head of enterprise architecture, we are creating a global IT catalog including PowerApps. We use 2 approaches. The information system manager has a global vision of information systems, including apps and legacy. So innovations can be integrated to make legacy evolve. The operational staff digitalize quickly, thanks to the knowledge and availability of API and master data and references. This allows these two worlds to move forward together and complement each other. Now we will see a use of PowerApps to allow answering the needs of all. We create a video because the process is very complex. So if you can.
Sure, we'll play the video.
Thanks.
L'objectif, c'est d'avoir un outil clairement évolutif, digital, mais co-construit avec les agents sur le terrain qui vont l'appliquer au quotidien.
Donc l'application qui a été développée est paramétrable pour tous les besoins de terrain, et quel que soit le site, que ce soit de la maintenance ou non. De fait, l'outil est utilisable au niveau national sur n'importe quelle entité SNCF qui aurait besoin de suivre un processus, de suivre un chronogramme et de le piloter.
Nous avons réalisé un API pour pouvoir communiquer avec d'autres outils digitaux qui étaient réalisés par le SI national. Donc nous allons pouvoir échanger des données avec les autres outils dans les deux sens, donc récupérer des données et fournir des données.
Cette application illustre complètement ce qu'on essaie de faire sur le terrain. 3 éléments vraiment clés, c'est la mobilisation de l'intelligence collective. Les équipes sont mobilisées par le manager pour résoudre les priorités opérationnelles de la maison. La sécurité, la régularité, l'efficience. Et in fine, cette approche permet une meilleure utilisation de nos actifs que sont nos RAM. Ça permet aussi la mobilisation de l'intelligence collective. Chaque satellite est développé par chaque équipe. On s'assure que ça colle aux besoins du terrain, que c'est évolutif. Et surtout, quelle fierté pour les équipes d'avoir pu s'emparer de cette plateforme digitale pour améliorer leur quotidien, leur processus métier clé et montrer explicitement la contribution à une meilleure performance du groupe.
Great, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ludovic. Yeah, thank you. Thanks a lot, Melanie. Okay.
And thank you and thank you to Guillaume. This is a product, and create the video of his the last video. Yes.
And I have to say, Ludovic and his team hosted us in February, and so we got a chance to visit one of these Techni centers. It was quite amazing. I was quite blown away. At some level, I feel like sitting in an office in Redmond or Bellevue, we're sort of abstracted away from how the technology is actually being used in the field. To go there and see some of these faces that you saw in the video coming up and showing us stacks of paper, and then next to that, someone else held a tablet and essentially telling us, this is what we did. We took this paper and it's all gone, and now this is the tablet we use. And as we walked around their Techni Center, sort of one person to the other, these were frontline workers sharing their stories, first-line workers on how they're using the platform. The one that probably touched me the most was an example of what you saw in there. someone who built what they call the linguistic application. I'm not sure if it fully came across in the video, but what he mentioned was, he said we'd sort of get into scuffle sometimes with international drivers that would come in that didn't speak the same language. So someone would come in with their truck to drop something off, and I might be butchering the exact story, but it was hard to communicate. He designed the application, right? The first line worker on the floor, he realized that he needed some way to communicate. So if someone parked in the wrong spot, it didn't need to turn into an argument. And he designed the whole app. He built out the wireframes, and he had the one that played. It even had the audio playback. He gave that to Remy within 1 day. And if you asked Remy, he said it was easy because I forgot his name, but he built this app, or he designed it on the wireframe, and it just took me 1 day, and he had a working app. And now they go around, and if they've parked in the wrong spot, he finds the button to push, and the app tells him what to do, right? And something so small. And then my next question was, why don't you just use like Bing Translate or Google Translate? There are software available, right? I mean, I think a little bit more like one of these techie people. That's not the answer they want, right? He had in his pocket Bing Translate, Google Translate, whatever translate you want. There's a reason why he wasn't using it, because that's not really approachable for him in where he's at. That's not something he designed. It's not his, right? Over here for him, this was his app. He built it, and so each time he uses it, there's this sense of ownership. When I say he built it along with Remy, who actually did the little coding up in PowerApps. So these are some of the stories that I find fascinating, and thank you so much for coming halfway around the world to share your stories with us over here. And with that, if we have a few questions, we can take those. Otherwise, we can call it a wrap. So any questions for Martin, Manuela, Ludovic? And I know I have one question before we come off stage, but open it up for any questions. Yes, sir.
So with the IT lite concept,
yeah.
Our internal audit put some pretty strict requirements around like third-party testing, and when we have an application and we're going to make changes to it. In this world where you have these other developers making changes to apps that other people are using, what kind of structure do y'all have around that? I mean, it might just be our internal audit is so strict on that kind of things, but that's one of the things we fear about this, distributed out, the citizen developer concept.
Yeah.
So there are certainly parts that we're still figuring out. We work quite closely together with our citizen developers. So as soon as someone creates an app, they get a welcome email, which is triggered by Flow to say, oh, I see you've discovered PowerApps. Here's our internal standards that you have to follow. Here's a copy of a template that I've put together that follows kind of the best practices and standards that I would want them to adopt, so they can base their application on that. And I reach out to them to ask if they've, are you getting on okay? Do you have any questions? It is then, if they don't take me up on that offer, it is then up to them to support the application further. If it breaks, they have to fix it. If the application grows kind of beyond what they maybe had in mind in terms of success or business criticality, they would go through a process of filling out a support procedure manual, answering a couple of questions, and they would then hand it over to a level 2 support team, where the application then can be supported 24/7 in a managed environment. So all of our citizen developer apps are in the default environment, which we kind of treat as the productivity environment. But if it needs further support beyond that, we have a second production instance where a level 2 team supports it. So if you phone the help desk, it gets picked up, and they would then there's a test instance, obviously, where they perform tests if they make any changes. So it's then a much more formal process.
Manuela, I think your mic might be off. So did that. And while Manuela was speaking, I put up a couple of links. So there's been a lot of a bunch of sessions during this conference which list out this topic, like to go into this topic of management governance. The two resources I'll point out here is that there's a starter kit that we've put together to help sort of build some of the tools and practices that are available. And if you missed it, there was a pre-day session, Admin in a Day on Sunday, which was an all-day session. All of that content and some hands-on labs along with that is available. I'd also encourage you to look up online. There's, and I hope I get the link correct, PA MBAS 2019, is a summary of all the sessions related to PowerApps, Flow, Common Data Service, a number of other topics, and they're organized by sections, so you can look at all of the admin-related sections, which is something you might be interested in, all in one section. And the last link I'll put out is kind of along those same lines. There's a summarized list of resources, again, broken down by some of these different sections. That might be a handy reference. Again, they just point, there's way more content out there than we could possibly curate in a single blog post, but we try to sort of pick out some of the ones we thought are useful. So excellent. Hope that helped, and enjoy the rest of your afternoon. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you.